Hi scholars, welcome back to Read Aloud. I can't wait to finish our biography of Alvin Ailey today. We know that we've been learning a little bit about his childhood so far, and today we're going to learn more about his goals and accomplishments and other true facts. We know biographies always give us true descriptions of an important person from the past or present. So today, let's start thinking about why Alvin Ailey is an important person. As we're going through his life, we're going to still continue to practice finding character motivation. We know that's the reason why a character does something. Of course, a biography is talking about a real person, so it's not a made-up character, but we can still take the same steps and use some of the same formulas for responses or different things that we've already talked about with character motivation for Alvin Ailey. So yesterday when we left off, we started picking up or reading and discussing about why Ted and Alvin were dancing. I was impressed because a lot of you guys were able to figure out that where the text said Ted tried Catherine Dunham's Bahiana and that Alvin began to move and he curled his shoulders from back to the front and he began to dance with an expression all of his own. And that lets us know that the two boys were feeling inspired. Alvin and Ted wanted to release some of their excitement by dancing. So now we've jumped to 1949 and 1953. Lester Horton's dance school. More than anything, Alvin wanted to study dance. But when Alvin arrived in Los Angeles, not everyone could take dance lessons. In 1949, not many dance schools accepted black students. And almost none taught the fluid moves that Alvin liked so much. Almost none, but the Lester Horton Dance Theater School, a modern dance school that welcomes students of all races. So we read earlier in our preview about the text time period that a lot of schools taught things from European origin, like a lot of dance schools taught very traditional things. So that helps us understand this part of the text where it says almost none, but the Lester Horton Dance Theater School, a modern dance school that welcomes students of all races, and that Alvin liked that one so much because all the other schools were probably very traditional European dance schools and Alvin wasn't connecting with them. So Lester's door was open to anyone serious about learning to dance. And at age 18, Alvin Ailey was serious, especially when he saw how Lester's dancers moved. One student, Carmen, danced with a butterfly's grace. Another, James, made modern dance look easy, but Lester worked his students hard. Sometimes they danced all day. After hours in the studio, droplets of sweat dotted Alvin's forehead. He tingled inside, ready to try Lester's steps once more. At first, Alvin kept time to Lester's beat and followed Lester's moves. Then, Alvin's own rhythm took over, and he started creating his own steps. Alvin's tempo worked from his belly to his elbows, then oozed through his thighs and feet. Sounds like Alvin is ready to keep going even though he's been working all day because he just wants to learn to dance. And I know that because in the text it says after hours in the studio, droplets of sweat dotted Alvin's forehead. He tingled inside, ready to try Lester's steps once more. We know that he has a drive to learn more dance. "What is Alvin doing?" one student asked. "Whatever he's doing, he sure is doing it fine," two dancers agreed. Some tried to follow Alvin's moves, but even Alvin didn't know which way his body would reel him next. Alvin's steps flowed from one to another. His loops and spins just came to him the way daydreams do. So I'm wondering why Alvin is starting to make up his own dance moves, even though he's at Lester's school. Well, in the text, we read earlier that he liked to stomp and dance and clap to the different music that he was listening to. And now it says that his loops and spins just came to him the way daydreams do. So that lets us know Alvin wants to move and feel the music. And that's why he is making up his own dance moves. Alvin danced at Lester Horton's school almost every day. He taught the other students his special moves. Sounds like Alvin is really showing endurance, pushing through even when it's hard, and he's been doing it all day and all week. In 1950, Alvin joined Lester Horton's dance company. Soon, Alvin performed his own choreography for small audiences who gathered at Lester's studio. Alvin's dances told stories. He flung his arms and shim-shammed his middle to express jubilation. His dips and slides could even show anger and pain. Modern dance let Alvin's imagination whirl. All the while, Lester watched Alvin grow into a strong dancer and choreographer. Lester told Alvin to study and learn as much as he could about the dance. He encouraged Alvin to use his memories and his African American heritage to make dances that were unforgettable. Let's stop and think about why Lester told Alvin to study and learn as much as he could about dance. Let's think about what we know from the text and what our character wants. We know our character is Alvin Ailey. Actually, we're asking and answering a question about Lester. So even though it has Alvin's name in the question's not really about him. The question is about Lester. Good catch. So Lester, we read, pushed his dancers really hard and all day. And now he's encouraging Alvin to use his memories and African American heritage to make dances that were unforgettable. So this lets me know that Lester told Alvin to study as much as he could about dance because Lester wants Alvin to be the best dancer he can be. And he thinks he's very talented. Lester thinks Alvin is very talented. I bet a lot of us would have too. 1958 to 1960. Blues Suite Revelations. Alvin's satchel hung heavy on his shoulder. His shoes rapped a beat on the sidewalk while taxi cabs honked their horns. He was glad to be in, does anyone know where he is? It looks like he's in a big city. He's in New York City, where he came to learn ballet from Carol Shook and modern dance techniques from Martha Graham, two of the best teachers in the world. Alvin took dance classes all over town, and he met dancers who showed him moves he'd never seen before. So many dancers were black. Like Alvin, their dreams soared higher than New York's tallest skyscrapers. Alvin gathered some of the dancers he'd seen in classes around the city. He chose the men and women who had just the right moves to dance his choreography. Alvin told them he wanted to start a modern dance company that would dance to blues and gospel music, the heritage of African American people. 9 dancers believed in Alvin's idea. This was the beginning of Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. So the text was sharing with us that Alvin wanted to share his love of dance and blues and gospel music. That's why Alvin decided to open the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. On March 30th, 1958, on an old wooden stage at the 92nd Street Y, Alvin and his friends premiered with Blues Suite, dances set in a honky-tonk dance hall. Stage lights cast moody shadows against the glimmer of each dancer's skin. The women flaunted red-hot dresses with shoes and stockings to match. The men wore black hats, slouched low on their heads. They danced to the swanky swank of a jazz rhapsody. Alvin's choreography depicted the blues, that weepy sadness all folks feel now and then. Blues Suite stirred every soul in the room. Alvin was on his way to making it big. Word spread quickly about him and his dancers. Newspapers hailed Alvin. Radio stations announced his debut. An even bigger thrill came when the 92nd Street Y asked Alvin to perform again. He knew they hardly ever invited dance companies to come back. Alvin was eager to show off his next work. Scholars, I want you to practice finding character motivation on this page. Listen carefully to the question, and then you'll be able to figure out and give your response later at the end of the video on Seesaw. The question is, why did 92nd Street Y ask Alvin to perform again? I'm going to read it again. You can think about what we just read. If you need to rewind to get more text evidence, you can. Why did 92nd Street Y ask Alvin to perform again? On January 31st, 1960, gospel harmonies filled the concert hall at 92nd Street Y. Alvin clapped in time to the music the same way he did when he was a boy. But now, Alvin rejoiced on stage in Revelations, a suite of dances he created to celebrate the traditions of True Vine Baptist Church in Texas. The audience swayed in their seats as Alvin and his company gloried in their dance. High-stepping ladies appeared on stage, sweeping their skirts. They danced with grace. Alvin and the other men jumped lively to the rhythm, strutting and dipping. Revelations honored the heart and the dignity of Black people while showing that hope and joy are for everyone. With his sleek moves, Alvin shared his experiences and his dreams in a way no dancer had ever done. When Revelations ended, the audience went wild with applause. They stomped and shouted, "More!" They yelled, "More!" Taking a bow, Alvin let out a breath. He raised his eyes toward heaven, satisfied and proud. And scholars, that's the end of our biography about Alvin Ailey. We know that biographies are often about important historical figures. Why do you think Alvin Ailey is considered an important historical figure? Well, I think it's because Alvin created something wonderful for everyone to enjoy, and it was something that was new. And it celebrated African Americans and even part of the African American culture. So that's why Alvin Ailey is considered an important historical figure. Remember, I told you guys what your thinking job was and what you are going to go back to respond to on Seesaw. Going back to this section about when 92nd Street Y asked Alvin and his dancers to premiere again and to show up and perform again. So why did 92nd Street Y ask Alvin to perform again? When you're answering this question, we're looking for you to use the character's name, give what the character wants, and your text evidence. Listen again to the question so you can identify who or what the character is. Why did 92nd Street Y ask Alvin to perform again? I know that you readers have got it.